foundation really of my life and my spirituality is based upon divine mercy. When the soldier thrusts his lance into the side of our Lord, piercing of the heart of Jesus. St. John's Gospel. That was the Gospel for my ordination. We know that we can always turn to divine mercy when we are rock bottom. That's why the words, Jesus, I trust in you, divine mercy is our hope. My family home is in Swansea on the Gower. My mother still lives there, and I was raised as a Methodist and as an Anglican. My mother was a Sunday school teacher, and my grandmother was also a Sunday school teacher. And therefore the Bible and Bible stories were very familiar to me. I remember reading, of course, as a young boy, the Bible stories of the call of Samuel. Here I am, Lord. You've called me. I've come to do your will. I was also aware, of course, of the call of David, another young boy. And therefore these Bible stories, which were so much part of my early life as a non-Catholic, were very familiar to me. In thinking about my Silver Jubilee, it's a good time for me to think and to ponder my first inklings of a vocation, of wanting to give myself to become a priest. When I was a little boy, one of the popular destinations for a holiday was Tenby. And whenever anybody goes to Tenby, one of the things that they always do is to take the boat ride across the waters from Tenby Harbour over to the island. This particular place, situated on the Pembrokeshire coast, has a monastery. It is a Cistercian monastery of the strict observance, the Trappists. The monks, who are still there to this day, make chocolate, and they also make perfume. I'm not sure if it was the chocolate that the monks make that inspired me to become a priest, but certainly it was one of the foundational aspects of my life. One of the monks would give a tour of the monastery every day, and I remember going into the monastery and being completely overwhelmed by the sense of prayer, the sense of holiness, the sense of commitment. These monks were getting up at 3:30 a.m. every morning for the morning office, and then they were going to bed at 8:30 p.m. They kept a vow of silence. They spent their time around 7 times a day in the chapel, and the rest of the time then was working on the farm, making the chocolate and making the perfume. And I remember thinking as a young boy, if these monks can give their lives to God, if they can get up at 3 a.m. ready for a 3:30 prayer time with God, what was I doing with my life? Even though I was only 7, 8 years of age, I sensed even then I had to do something with my life. Sadly, when I was 10 years of age, my father died with a heart attack. He died on the feast of St. Joseph, March the 19th, and that was a very poignant time in my life, because it gave me a chance then to think more about my life. It made me think about giving of myself. My mother would then have the responsibility of being a widow and raising myself and my brother. On a Saturday, it was the day I would go with my mother to the shopping centre in Swansea. She would arrange to meet me maybe after 2 hours I was able to be by myself for 2 hours and go around Swansea. But because I was aware of this sense of a vocation, I was always drawn to the oldest Catholic church in our diocese, which is in Swansea, the Church of St. David. Every Saturday there was exposition and adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. And whenever I went to the church, I could sense something otherworldly with the incense and the Latin chants, the Gregorian chants, the candles, all the music. It touched me immensely. And I remember sitting there in the church, seeing an old lady, and she had great difficulty in walking. Her faith, despite all of the difficulties that she faced by being frail, by being elderly, by being quite disabled, was a wonderful witness to me. This sense of adoration, of being in the presence of the Eucharistic Lord, was something that I was unfamiliar with, and I knew this is what I had to do. I eventually spoke to the priest and I told him about how I felt and this feeling of wanting to give myself to become a priest. Even though at that stage I wasn't even yet a Catholic, there was this great attractiveness to the Blessed Sacrament. I started taking instruction with the Benedictine priest to become a Catholic. And the more we studied the Reformation, the more we looked at these great doctrines of transubstantiation, St. Thomas Aquinas, the more I wanted it. The more I wanted to become a Catholic, the more I wanted to bring the Eucharist into my life and into the lives of others. The real presence. Because what I had, I suppose, was the real absence. I wanted this closeness with Jesus in the Eucharist. I was then accepted and became a Catholic. I was confirmed, I made my first communion, I'd left home, and now I had the freedom to do what I wanted with my life and then to pursue my time as a Catholic. Because I was only 18 years of age, the bishop wanted to ensure that I was ready. I was a new convert, and therefore he asked me if I would stay a little bit longer in the world, as it were, to live a normal Catholic life. And so I applied for a job. This particular job was to be a silver service waiter. It was in a very luxurious hotel. I always remember a priest telling me to work in the hotel as if I was working at Cana in Galilee, to sanctify each and every moment, to offer my work to God so that my work could be my offering at the offertory in the Mass. And so I tried to work and think that Our Lady was coming to be one of the guests, or our Lord was coming, just like at the wedding feast of Cana. As a result of this desire to sanctify my work, I was soon promoted. So if things didn't work out, or if there was going to be a problem with me becoming a priest, at least I knew I could then continue with my work, which I enjoyed so much in the hotel and in the restaurant. Thankfully, all my studies went according to plan, and my prayer and my study were then able to feed one another. I chose Mariology, the study of Our Lady, as my primary subject, and then my secondary subject was on the Eucharist. And this, of course, has been a great gift to me to have studied so many of the famous, well-known Marian saints. The great spirituality of St. Louis Marie de Montfort, this total consecration to Our Lady. When we give ourselves to Our Lady, she will take us to our Lord. Because one of the parishes I was assigned to for 9 years was to look after the shrine of Our Lady in Wales, Our Lady of the Taper. I was involved as the rector of that Shrine of Our Lady, and so all of my studies at the seminary were a great help to me. And so my 9 years in the Shrine of Our Lady at Cardigan has now led me to my 12 years here at the Church of the Sacred Heart. And so it's a lovely fulfillment of that expression, to Jesus through Mary. I have a few particular saints who I particularly am devoted to, and one of them, of course, is Saint Faustina Kowalska, the patron of the Divine Mercy. When I was in seminary, one of my highlights was to go to Rome for the beatification of Sister Faustina, and so it was a great gift to meet the sisters of the Congregation of Our Lady of Mercy at Krakow, Łagiewnicki, and to become more and more familiar with the message of Divine Mercy. As a result of my ordination and my devotion to Saint Faustina, I was able to choose the Gospel for my ordination day of the piercing of the heart of Jesus. St. John's Gospel, when the soldier thrusts his lance into the side of our Lord, and about priesthood as being a source of mercy to many others, of giving oneself, of outpouring, just like the Lord's heart opened upon the cross. And so it is a wonderful start for my ordination. My first masses then took place the following day, and one of my masses was also said at the convent of the Missionaries of Charity of Mother Teresa. I'd met Mother Teresa as a deacon. She came to Swansea to open a convent, and I'd become very involved with the Missionaries of Charity. And again, this was a wonderful way in which I could live out the works of mercy. So there was a mirroring and a carrying on of my ordination gospel that would then flow through my priesthood. As a priest, one of the first things I did was to establish then the Sunday of Divine Mercy. And so the gospel of my ordination day of John's Gospel has remained a focus for my years as a priest, that outpouring of mercy. And of course here in Morriston, where I am now as a priest, that particular aspect of mercy has taken on a new role in my work in the hospital. Undoubtedly, the last 2 years of the pandemic have been the greatest challenge to the church and to me as a priest. The first part of the pandemic, when there was no vaccine, when nobody knew what would happen, was a very difficult, but yet a very rewarding experience. The first COVID death I experienced, one of the missionaries of charity. I will never forget that particular experience. It was a whole new period in the hospital and a whole new period in my life. I'd undergone all of the specialized training. I was fit tested for all of the different masks, and yet here I was about to go to visit my first COVID patient. I always remember the sister on the ward saying, "Nobody knows how this will end." And so I was allowed onto the COVID ward to give the sister of Mother Teresa the last rites. At this particular stage, she was still conscious, and so I was able to give her Holy Communion. I was able to anoint her. I think at the moment I have attended to about 80 deaths with COVID. Many times in the course of one day or even one night, I would be called out to the hospital. And on many occasions, because of the lockdown and also because of the risk of infection, I was the only person allowed in to visit the person and to bring the consolation of the sacraments. We were all given a choice, either to be of service and to carry out our work as a chaplain in the hospital, or if we felt, because of particular family responsibilities and obligations, or our own health was under threat, we could step back But being a priest, being celibate, having no family, I was then able to have that freedom to give of myself. I was often on call for the non-Catholics because they were married, they had children, they had wives, and therefore they did not know if they would contract COVID and therefore become a risk. I knew it would be a risk, but this, of course, is so much part of being a priest, of giving of oneself for the Lord. That is what I promised in ordination. Whichever parish I went to, the Sunday of Divine Mercy was always a special celebration. Confessions, adoration, and of course the many, many promises of our Lord for Divine Mercy Sunday. One of the great gifts to the Church was the Year of Mercy, called for by Pope Francis. And it was a special gift to me, a special time to deepen my own knowledge and commitment to Divine Mercy. We had already arranged a number of pilgrimages to Poland over the years since I've been here in the parish. The sisters from Łagiewnicki Kraków had been to the parish to give a retreat, and I decided, with the bishop's permission, to ask if it was possible to establish a shrine of Divine Mercy. When Pope Francis closed the Year of Mercy, he said, although the year closes, the doors of mercy are always open. And he asked that every diocese would have a permanent reminder of the Year of Mercy, that God's mercy never closes. The holy door in Rome would close, but the heart of Jesus is always open. In living and practicing the works of mercy, which was one of the requests of our Lord to St. Faustina, we make mercy present in many, many different ways, through the works of mercy, looking after the poor, and of course visiting the sick and helping the dying, which is very much part of my ministry here in the parish of the Sacred Heart with the hospital. We therefore started what is known as the SOS, to pray for those who are dying. And the Vatican gave this special blessing, this indulgence, to the chapel and to the members of the SOS Association. The sisters in Łagiewnicki Kraków also gave us a first-class relic of St. Faustina. The sisters of Mother Teresa gave us a first-class relic of Mother Teresa because she was canonized in the Year of Mercy. Also, we now have a first-class relic of St. John Paul II, the Pope of Mercy, the Pope who beatified Sister Faustina, who canonized Sister Faustina, who gave the feast of Divine Mercy, and of course, who died the weekend of Divine Mercy. And therefore, we wanted to show this great link between devotion to Divine Mercy and then the overflow of mercy into the lives of people. The foundation really of my life and my spirituality is based upon Divine Mercy. And over the years, that particular devotion and awareness of God's mercy has grown and grown and grown in my life. There are so many times when we can feel let down by people, so many times when we feel, can I go on? That Divine Mercy is our hope. We know that we can always turn to Divine Mercy when we are rock bottom. That's why the words, Jesus, I trust in you, are at the bottom of the image. When we feel low, when we feel as if we cannot even raise our eyes, we look down and we see those words, Jesus, I trust in you. And that allows new hopes, new inspirations, dreams to become a reality, because none of us are by ourselves. In the image of divine mercy, Jesus is walking. He walks alongside you and me, just like he joined the journey of the disciples on the way to Emmaus. He walks side by side to strengthen us and to support us. And therefore I begin the day, each new day, by offering myself to the divine mercy to make me an image, a living image of his mercy to all those people that I come in contact with. Jesus said to St. Faustina, you must be a living image, that this image is to be a reminder of my demands of mercy. It is to be a source of mercy. And so by venerating the image of divine mercy, we must take it through to performing works of mercy. Living in a very cosmopolitan, very mixed parish means that every day is a challenge. I never know what the day will bring. I obviously have my plan for the day, but one moment I may be with a family who have the joy of a new baby, and then I get called to the hospital to give the last rites. And then an hour later, I'm with a young couple preparing for the sacrament of marriage. And then in the evening, listening to confessions. And so the beauty and the joy of being a priest is the beauty of the unexpected. There is no dull moments. Each time the phone goes or the doorbell rings or somebody comes to see me at the hospital is always a new challenge, a new inspiration to be the Lord's presence in that particular time to that particular person. And therefore priesthood is such a rewarding, but also of course a challenge, but the most fulfilling aspect of my life. Our Lord said, I have come that they may have life in abundance. And certainly in the priesthood and in my 25 years as a priest, that has certainly been the case. Life in abundance as a priest of the Lord.